5 on your side starts now with breaking news.
And we are following breaking news in St. Charles County. A man is dead after being shot by police. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Kelly Jackson. Here's what police just confirmed within the last 30 minutes. Police were called to a home on Hickorydale Drive just after 6:30 tonight for a domestic disturbance. Officers say there was a confrontation with a man at the scene. That is when they say one of their officers shot the man who later died. The victim's being identified as a 33-year-old man. There were no other injuries reported, no other people involved in the shooting. St. Charles County Police Critical Incident Response Team is investigating. And you can count on us to follow these developing stories on air and online. You can always find our most up-to-date coverage on KSDK.com and on our 5+ streaming app. It is the calm before the storm. We want to show you a live look over downtown St. Louis. Is showing dry conditions right now, but as we look ahead to this time tomorrow night, our area will have gotten nearly 2 inches of rain. Tonight, our weather impact team here to get you ready for the rain. Let's check in with meteorologist Lance Blocker, and you are timing out tomorrow's showers.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it looks like, fortunately, we'll see widespread rain. We could see even totals, you mentioned there, 2 inches. I would not be surprised, even greater amounts as well. Here's a live look at radar showing that cold front off to the northwest. That's going to be the main culprit for showers and storms into our region over the next 24 hours. There is a severe threat with this, a level 2 risk for the southern tier of our counties, a level 1 risk to the north. What that means is more scattered severe storms down to the south, more isolated in nature to the north. There is a low end threat of a brief spin-up tornado down to the south. The primary risk, though, will be for damaging wind gusts, maybe some frequent lightning mixing in there as well. But most everybody will get very beneficial, heavy rainfall. But if you're out in that, of course, you want to be very careful as well. Temperatures across our region right now, they're in the mid-70s. We're only going to drop down to the lower 60s. That'll allow us to warm up fairly quickly in the morning hours and help some of those storms get fired up. So we're going to break down the timing on what to expect as we move through the weekend with these storms.
And be sure to stay with us for extended storm coverage throughout the day tomorrow. You can stream it on the free 5+ app. Download it now by searching KSDK in your TV's app store. Well, developing tonight, a major shakeup at St. Louis Public Schools. Today, the school board fired Superintendent Dr. Millicent Borachade. New tonight, 5 on your side's Robert Townsend has reaction and also tells us who has now been named the district's interim superintendent.
5 on your side caught this exclusive video of armed security officers escorting Dr. Millicent Borachade out of the St. Louis Public Schools Education Building on Friday afternoon. It was after the school board voted to fire Borachade during a closed-door meeting. Borachade told us she walked into work and was told she was being terminated without cause.
And the ball was in their court about what to do about the situation we were in, and they took action. We do support the elected school board.
Borachade had been at the school district since December of 2024. The board officially voted her in as permanent superintendent 8 months ago. In August, nearly 2,000 members of the local teachers union signed a vote of no confidence in Borachade. The petition cited Borachade's plan to relocate 7 schools damaged by the May 16th tornado and her plans in July to close more than half school buildings due to declining enrollment. Union spokesman Byron Clemens says many people had concerns about Borachade's plan.
Where we talked about just closing schools right after a tornado is where we started to part ways on some of these issues. Superintendents are often like hired guns, and they come in and go for a few years and then they leave.
As word quickly spread about Borachade being dismissed 9 weeks into the school year, parents weighed in.
I think that people already kind of had their opinions and led with that, obviously. But yeah, I mean, it's unfortunate that it came to this so fast, but I'm not surprised.
We also stopped by SLPS headquarters to try to talk to school board members about Borachade's dismissal. Spokesperson Carl Mitchell told me all of the board members were gone for the day. In a statement, board member Ben Conover said in part, the vote is being reported as 6 in favor of removing Dr. Bordashade as superintendent and 0 against. Conover also said, I would have voted no. Hours later, the board appointed Dr. Myra Berry as interim superintendent.
We really do think this is an opportunity for positive change, and we hope everybody gets on board.
Robert Townsend, 5 on your side.
And the school board will hold a news conference Monday afternoon. A spokesperson says they will introduce Dr. Berry and outline the next steps in the district's leadership transition and superintendent search process. Boeing and the union representing thousands of striking machinists are heading back to the negotiating table. Today, both sides confirmed they accepted a federal mediator's request to meet on Monday. In a statement, the union says it is ready to get back to the table, reach an equitable agreement, and get our members back to work. Boeing responded saying, we are pleased to accept the mediator's request for both sides to return to the table and hope to find a path forward that ends the strike. But right now, we're just minutes away from day 18 of our government shutdown. It's been a quiet 24 hours on Capitol Hill. The Senate is in recess until Monday. Meanwhile, the House is canceling its scheduled session for Monday. Earlier today, the chamber briefly gavelled in to designate next week as a district work period for House representatives. It comes as multiple sources say more federal workers could be fired. The Interior Department could soon make staffing cuts across its branches. The news of possible layoffs comes from court documents filed by 2 federal workers' unions. They say thousands of employees may be let go starting Monday. A department spokesperson responded to the filing saying the reduction plan has been in progress since earlier this year. We're less than 12 hours away from the temporary reopening of the Arch National Park. The Arch has been closed since the shutdown began, like most national parks, but a unique partnership is allowing the Arch to reopen for its 60th anniversary celebration later this month. The special arrangement will open the Arch daily from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., but if the shutdown continues, the Arch will close again November 2nd. Tomorrow, millions of people plan to participate in a day of protest for the second time this year. Thousands of No Kings rallies will be held nationwide. Here's video from some of the rallies held in our area. Organizers say they are protesting the Trump administration, quote, authoritarian agenda. Cheryl Hubbard has more.
The No Kings protest returns Saturday. This was the scene in June when some 5 million people across the U.S. took to the streets to protest the Trump administration. Organizers say this weekend will be even bigger, with more than 2,500 demonstrations in all 50 states.
I support the right of every single American to participate in the rallies that are going to take place this week. And showing up to express dissent against an out-of-control administration. That's as American as motherhood, baseball, and apple pie.
The protests take place against the backdrop of the ongoing government shutdown, tension over immigration raids, and federal troops being deployed to Democratic-led cities. Republican leaders are calling Saturday's protests anti-American.
The No Kings rally this weekend, do you think you can make progress once that's over?
I sure hope so. Are you talking about the Hate America rally? That's what we call it, because it'll be a collection of Antifa, BLM, the Marxists, wild leftist policy priorities, and that'll be on display for the whole country.
Organizers say they are planning for peaceful demonstrations, in clear contrast to the Trump administration's show of force.
It's because they are worried that they are losing their grip on power. They are worried that other people in blue states, red states, and purple states, in rural communities, in Trump country, are going to see the public doesn't support this, and that makes them scared.
Organizers say Saturday will be the largest single-day protest in modern history. Sherelle Hubbard, 5 on your side.
Coming up, rain's in the forecast, but will it be enough to break the drought? A local expert explains what's at stake and what this means for our community. Well, all the rain we are expecting tomorrow will not be enough to end the drought. We have seen weeks of dry conditions in both Missouri and Illinois. For the past 12 years, St. Louis University Assistant Professor of Biology Christy Portales-Reyes has studied drought impacts in the Midwest.
One of the outcomes that is worrisome from the study is that the greater number of consecutive years that we experience an extreme drought event, the greater the negative impacts we'll have in our ecosystems.
Have since set up special shelters that mimicked drought conditions. They say consecutive droughts in the Midwest are rare, but we do experience seasonal droughts. Professor Portales Reyes says seasonal droughts can be beneficial by allowing our ecosystem to adapt and be more resilient. And as we look ahead to tomorrow's rainy weather impact alert, our area is going to get some beneficial rain to help with the droughts. Meteorologist Lance Blocker is here now with the weather impact forecast, and we have a weather alert for tomorrow too.
Yeah, Kelly, but we are thankful for the fact that we are getting the rain back into the region after 2 months of dry weather. This is much needed. Severe weather threat, though, that's coming along with it as well. Let's go and break that down for you. The window is really between 11 a.m. and 7 p.m. We could probably end it around 5 or 6, but we'll go and keep that a little bit wider just in case. So 7 p.m. Primary threats, damaging wind gusts, perhaps a brief tornado. I'm going to detail that here in just a moment. But as you move through the day tomorrow, have a plan. Of course, if you got any outdoor activities, I'll be honest with you, they probably need to be inside. We're going to expect rounds of heavy rainfall as we move through the day. This is the overall severe weather risk. Of course, a level 2 risk in yellow down to the south, a level 1 risk to the north. As we look at the individual categories of threats, more widespread wind issues are possible. So in terms of severe thunderstorms capable of damaging wind gusts, that's pretty much area wide. It's obviously more likely down to the south, but it's possible with any storms that get strong enough through the day tomorrow. For the tornado threat, you can see that shifts southeastward somewhat. And let's go and detail out why. This is what we expect the radar to look similar to tomorrow morning early. This is 7 a.m. Everything is quiet across the area. Forecast models have been fairly consistent with developing isolated to scattered showers as we move through the early morning hours. This is by 10 a.m. Once we get closer to the peak heating of the day, it really takes off. More widespread rain. The good news with that is that the more widespread rain there is in advance of the upper level dynamics, the severe weather threat stays lower. So this is actually good. This is now through 2:45. As I put this in motion, though, this air down to the southeast can recover somewhat in terms of severe weather potential, which is why they're keeping a close watch for the potential tomorrow for an isolated brief spin-up tornado, primarily down to the south. But again, as we move through the daytime hours, look at the rounds, very beneficial, heavy rainfall that move across the entire region, upwards of 1 to 2 inches, perhaps even localized higher amounts for locations that receive more thunderstorms as we move through the day. So widespread beneficial rain, certainly a big deal for us. But I do want to mention too that whenever we're in a drought condition and we spend months of dry weather like this, the soil doesn't actually absorb the water that well when it's very heavy. I know it goes counterintuitive to what you would probably expect, but be careful out on the roads. Could have some localized flash flooding issues. So we'll keep you advised. We'll be here throughout the day tomorrow and streaming on the 5+ app.
Yes, I know you will. You're going to have us covered.
No doubt.
All right, thanks, Lance. Now here's Corey Miller and Andy Kroll with 5 on your sideline.